Welcome to an exciting day here at Dimitri's Garage. My Saber cabinets just landed and I couldn't be more excited. I actually didn't know they were coming until yesterday. So just to remind you guys of what all of this is two base cabinets with a slab that spans 3 cabinets to go over it. It is also a large side cabinet that we're going to store a lot of the detailing and car accessories in. All of the stuff is going to go up on the wall, kind of like I showed you guys in my 3D rendering. I didn't get a whole ton of them. I'm sure some of you have seen the 3D rendering I did in one of my other videos. And then of course I'll have my toolbox over here. Starting to get some of the plastic off of all of this. I hate this cling wrap stuff. So one of the cool things about the lav mic that I've come to realize is that I will be able to walk around and keep the same volume of conversation. So these are going to be the sides, I believe, to the large. Actually, maybe this is the back. It's probably the back and the sides to the large cab. So guys, here we got the entire large cabinet that just needs to be assembled. All the parts for the assembly are in this box next to me. The box that's right in front of us now is the slab. So I cannot even describe how heavy this thing feels. I know it says 100 pounds and it probably is 100 pounds, but it's so unwieldy. I'm excited to peel the plastic off this bad boy. And now it's time to open up the 2 base cabinets. So here is one of these awesome cabinets. It's already on my little hand truck, and now we're going to truck it over and park it where it needs to go. So guys, I managed to get everything on this pallet. This is basically the Matt Mormon method that I saw on his YouTube channel. I really liked it. Basically, you get your cabinets onto the pallet. That way they're easy. You don't have to manhandle them as you're working with them. I'm going to start with a big cabinet all the way in the corner. So once that one is in place, we're going to kind of scoot this rig around until everything's nice and even. And then we're going to do the right second cabinet, so the right one right there that you see. We're going to nail that one up to the wall, and we're going to get it nice and level with a level. And the idea is we will measure this left cabinet, the third cabinet, from that right cabinet. That way we know they're both going to be exactly level, and they're going to be the right distance. If you start nailing things up or measuring from the ground or doing other weird things, you're never going to get everything lined up. So whenever you're working, do not measure from the floor up. Don't measure from the ceiling down. You can measure laterally from one unit to another to get everything spaced out right. You know, you can look at bubble level and you can see if you are spot on for how you need to be against the horizon, and that's it. That's how you get things level. Never measure from objects that could be uneven, because you will get it perfectly with the floor, but you're going to find out the floor is uneven, and when you look at it with your eyes, you're going to hate yourself. So guys, basically what I'm doing here is I am installing, I'll show you, I'm installing these sheet metal screws over here, and I'm installing these bolt and nuts over here. I am using blue Loctite. I feel like it'll help this thing not rattle and squeak later. That way these nuts here aren't gonna back themselves out. Just a little blue Loctite right there. That's what you want to see. I see a lot of guys putting on like globs of Loctite. you really don't have to do that. I just got this big cabinet pretty much assembled. I gotta add the doors, the shelves, I gotta nail it down to the wall so it doesn't fall on me because I like to not die. But let me show you what I mean when I say line things up against the horizon, not the wall. So I don't know if you could tell, but look at how far away from the wall we are there, and look at how far away from the wall we are there. So that is exactly what I'm talking about. Line things up against the horizon using a bubble level, measure object to object, but do not measure against the ceiling or the floor or even the side walls like over here. So guys, what I'm doing now is I'm sinking in some of these screws, drywall screws. The good news about my setup is that I actually have OSB all behind here. That's why that does that instead of just plowing through. The OSB really is a weird feature of this garage. So for those that don't know, OSB is oriented strand board, and for whatever reason it was put behind the sheetrock over here. It's kind of an odd setup. It's sheetrock, then OSB, then the studs, which always made it weird with the stud finder. I'm like, why am I always have to go extra deep to see my studs with the stud finder? And once we started demoing in here, we quickly find out the reason. That's how easy that is. I kind of stopped recording because it was a little too daunting to try to do the heavy lifting myself and at the same time make everything come out correct. Basically, one thing that I would really recommend if you have a floor jack, like one of those guys right there, you can use that to jack up the second cabinet in order to get it to the exact height you need. Makes it really easy to screw everything together. So if we zoom out, this is kind of what we're left with. Everything has its place, and I'll show you guys kind of what I stashed and where. So the welder's now over here. Here, I decided, actually that wasn't even closed right. So here I decided to do car stuff at the top, detailing stuff in the middle. That's more detailing stuff, and then more car stuff at the bottom. So this actually closes first. And then this guy closes. And down here I have kind of household things. I love how nice that stainless is, but I can already tell how hard it's going to be to keep it looking clean. It's super hard. And here I have just some more random things. I've got my metal cutter there. Got another haul of packages today. I guess I've been shopping a little much. Had to use the little hand truck to move it all since I didn't want to make a million trips. Let's take a look at what I got today and see if there's anything interesting. So the first box that I opened was this Diode Dynamics kit. It's actually an RMA. This is the second time that I've had a failure on their kit, and I'll show you what that is. So if we go over here, so you can see the LED has failed right there, and that's twice now that that's happened, and it's always the same side. So unfortunately, while Diode Dynamics is gracious enough to provide very easy RMAs, I just sent them a photo of the broken light. Unfortunately, I wish their products would hold up a little better. So here's the kit. Basically, I'm going to wind up with, if you count the one on the car, I'm going to wind up with 3 working driver's side lights and 1 working passenger side light. So I'll install that a little later. It's actually kind of a pain in the butt. It's really hard to squeeze the clip to take out the current light. But installing it's pretty easy. So in the next 2 boxes, I had a pair of Audio-Technica ATW T1001 transmitters. These are the wireless lav transmitters that I use. I found that the more mics that I'm able to put up, the more real the sound is. I think there's just such a high dynamic range to human hearing, and when you start using microphones, you almost need a bunch of them set at different gains and, you know, mixed a little differently to recreate what the human ear heard. This box is full of goodies. We've got these general purpose Terries that I got 3 sets of these. These are going to be sick. And then I've got these awesome Chemical Guys pads that I use, applicators. I love these things for applying wax and sealants and things like that. They're really great. And I like that they're super cheap and I can just throw them out. Now in this box we have more cloths. So this is an interesting brand. I've never really played with it. It had good reviews. A lot of people were saying that they're pretty high quality. I've never used it. I like trying new products sometimes. It's not always Adams. I love the Adams stuff. They rarely disappoint. This is the Rag Company's Eagle Edgeless Blue. This stuff is also very high rated. And then on the final box of the day, I have these Korean made auto fiber Terries. Again, another thing that I want to try. We'll see how they go. Looks beautiful in its new home. So guys, I decided that I'm going to do a lot of like little demo videos in the garage now since I have the sweet work surface and the lighting in here is pretty good. One of the first things that I want to show is this new pump I got for fuel. So this thing is to replace that little siphon pump that I had. Unfortunately, that corroded. The plastic somehow just disintegrated and oxidized somehow. I don't know what the deal is, but it's probably due to the fact that it's probably for water really and not for fuel. But they kind of claim fuel, but you can tell it's like not labeled correctly. So basically what I bought is an electric fuel pump so that I could move fuel from my barrel to a little 2.5 gallon container so that I could fill up my my Mustang. So let's check out this kit. For outdoor use only, so yeah, I think we're good. Hopefully this doesn't end up being a huge mess and I don't end up regretting it. Do not use it for water. It says that water will ruin this thing. So this is supposedly specifically for fuel. The fuel pickup weight can be attached to the yellow input line to help the hose sink to the bottom of the fuel source. When used to siphon from an open container, it is not meant to be used in siphoning fuel from a vehicle that requires a 1/4 inch. So we're not siphoning from a vehicle, so we're not even going to use that. This is for like the Mustang, where you have the capless tank. So this is a special funnel. The Mustang actually comes with one in the trunk. But it's kind of cool to have this one so I don't have to pull the trunk one out every time. So I will use this today, actually. I believe these are filters. So there's an inline filter here. And this is an air actuator, so when you squeeze, it turns on the circuit. Well, let's give this thing a shot. So guys, basically the setup's really simple. I can squeeze this ball to start pumping fuel. Pretty cool, huh? And you can see it filling up in that other tank. It's not super fast, but I don't really care. I just want it to be reliable. And this is a pretty easy setup. So as long as it doesn't make a huge mess, I should be pretty happy. So I believe it's about 1 gallon a minute, and this is a 2.5 gallon tank. So it should take about 2.5 minutes. Yeah, I think this works very well. So I'll do some kind of follow-up if I have any issues with it or if I find something useful or not useful about it. But basically this thing, just something to note, this thing is 12 volts. I'm running it off a battery tender. It's really designed to run from your car. You plug it into the, to the outlet on your car. But I'm not going to do that every time. So I just disassembled the plug, and I'm just attaching it to a battery tender. So I know that's probably not the safe way to do it, but that's just kind of what I have to do. Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I love my new Saber cabinets. I'm pretty excited about this thing too, and I hope you click like on my video and subscribe. Thanks, guys.